Salete. So we're going to start at 5.26 line 8 with Ambiorix's little revolt here. So when quickly our guys had taken up arms and had ascended the rampart, and from one part, with the Spanish cavalry having been sent out, our cavalry had been superior in the battle, or had been victorious. With the matter having been despaired, or with the matter being desperate, with the situation being desperate, the enemies led their own people back from the attack. Then they called together in their own custom so that one of our guys might go forward for a conversation. And in the conversation, this all is going to be indirect statement. So they called forth that they had which things they wished to say concerning the common matter, by means of which things they hoped that the controversies were able to be diminished. So they're saying, we know what we want to talk about, and if we talk about it, we think that these issues could be less significant. We could diminish the problems here. All right, now we leap into 5.27, which contains basically this conversation, more or less. So, Gaius Arpineius is sent to them for the sake of conversing. Gaius Arpineius, who is a Roman equestrian, close friend of Quintus Titurius, and Quintus Junius, a certain guy from Spain, is sent to them, who already earlier, by the command of Caesar, had been accustomed to come and go to Ambiorix. So they send a guy who has already, at Caesar's command, interacted with Ambiorix. Among whom Ambiorix said toward this way. What do they say for this? In this way. So in this way, Ambiorix spoke among those people. So among Quintus Titurius, I'm sorry, my bad, among Gaius Arpineius and Quintus Junius. So he said that he trusted that he owed a whole lot to him, meaning to Caesar, in exchange for the kindnesses of Caesar towards him. All right, so he's basically saying, since Caesar's been good to him in the past, he believes he owes Caesar a lot in return. Because by his work, meaning by Caesar's work, Ambiorix had been liberated from attacks, because because he had, attacks which, and we need to make that accusative, don't we? It's the amateur hour here. Attacks which he had been accustomed to pay to the Aduatikis, his neighboring people. And because the son and son of the brother had been sent back to him by Caesar, whom, meaning the son and son of the brother, whom the Aduatiki had held, having been sent in a number of hostages, had held with them in servitude and in chains. So, Ambiorix's son and nephew had been held by the Atuatiki as hostages, but they were being held in servitude in chains, and it's Caesar who made sure that these guys got sent back to Ambiorix. And Ambiorix is now saying, obviously, I should be grateful to you for that. And then he says that he did not do that thing which he did, which sounds really weird. Oh, yeah, right. He did not do that thing which he did concerning the assault of the camp, either by his own judgment or by his own will. In other words, he did it. He's like, yeah, I did it, okay, but I didn't do it by my own judgment or my own will. But by the compulsion of the tribe. And he says that his own power of that sort, or his own power is of that sort, that he did not hold less of power, or I'm sorry, the multitude did not hold less of a right towards him than he himself towards the multitude. In other words, he's explaining to Caesar's people, hey, it's a situation where the multitude actually holds a little more power than I do. I can't just command them to do whatever I want. If they band together, they have more power than I do. So he goes on, and he says, blanking on Poro, darn it. Let's see here. Furthermore, okay. He says, furthermore, this was the cause of war for the city-state, that he was not able to resist the sudden conspiracy of the Gauls. So he's like, here's why this happened. I could not resist what all these Gauls conspired to do. He goes on to say that he was not able to approve of that thing easily from his own low status, meaning he's not important enough to even approve of that sort of endeavor, because he is not so... Oh, how about this? He is not able to approve of that thing from his own status, the fact that he is not so inexperienced of matters that he would believe that the Roman people are able to be surpassed by his own forces. So he's saying, hey, I'm not so stupid as to think that the Gauls could defeat the Romans. I'm smarter than that. I know they can't win. So why would I lead an attack? But it was the common plan of Gaul that this day was declared for attacking all the winter camps of Caesar, so that not in any way a legion might be able to come as an aid to another legion. So all of Gaul had concocted a plan to attack Caesar's camps in the same time period, so that one legion can't come to help the other. The Gauls were not able easily to deny the other Gauls. In other words, it was not easy for a Gaul to be able to deny or to refuse to the other Gauls. Okay, so if a lot of Gauls are on board, all of the Gauls are going to be on board. Especially when the plan seemed... I really don't like this. I should have circled this. Treated as an infinitive. Especially since the plan seemed to have been begun concerning the recovering of the common freedom, of the freedom they all share. Okay, so when the Gauls are like, hey, if we accomplish this, we'll all have our freedom, there's no stopping the Gauls at that point. And Ambiorix's point is basically, what could I do? This was out of my hands. So he goes on, because it was satisfactory to them, on behalf of my own piety, okay, on behalf of my own duty, that he now has a consideration or a condition or a term of duty for the kindnesses of Caesar. In other words, he's saying that the Gauls assumed that Ambiorix was bound to Caesar because of the nice things Caesar did for him. So they would basically ignore anything Ambiorix would say because they're like, you're in Caesar's pocket, essentially. Or maybe not quite that, but you owe loyalty to Caesar. So he advised, he beseeched Titurius for hospitality so that he might look after his own safety and the safety of his soldiers. So that he might consider, I guess. And he said that a great band of Germans, having been collected, was crossing the Rhine. Whoops, I'm doing something wrong here. Shoot, give me 2 seconds, I'll figure it out. Come on. I guess, because it's a new clause, that's why. And that this would happen within 2 days. Okay, so a great band of Germans had been collected, was going to cross the Rhine, and this would happen within 2 days. He said that the plan of those guys, meaning the Romans, was whether they wished to lead out the soldiers having been let out from winter camps either to Cicero or to Labienus before the neighboring people perceive it. One of whom, meaning either Cicero's people or Labienus' people, was around 50 miles away. The other was a little bit further away from them. So he's basically saying, it's up to you guys, Romans, to decide what you want to do, but you might want to move out the soldiers to support Cicero or to support Labienus in their camps. He said that he promised that thing, or he said that they promised that thing, meaning the Gauls, and that by swearing an oath, it is he. He said that he promised that thing, and that he confirmed it by swearing an oath that that he would give a safe journey through the territories. And since he does this thing, another connective relative, and since he does this thing, he said that he was looking out for the interests or taking care of or considering his tribe because it is relieved by winter quarters or it is relieved from the winter quarters, basically. So they're not in winter quarters, so he's got to look out for their safety. And he said that he gave thanks to Caesar for his kindnesses, in exchange for his kindnesses. With this speech having been given, so having given the speech, you could say, Ambiorix departs. Whew! All right. Hopefully that worked. All right.